I just want to say this all happened when I was 18, and I was young, innocent, and naive. Now that I'm in my mid-20s, I would never let this happen again. It was my freshman year of college, and as could one imagine, I was excited to be on my own for once in my life. So excited to be on my own that I decided I was going to take summer classes on campus. That way, I wouldn't have to worry about coming in when the big crowd of freshmen came, and I would already know where everything was. Plus, it meant that I could get away from my parents faster. But mainly, all they could think about was boys. You see, I had never dated anyone through high school, so I thought I would find my true love at college. Because of course, that's what all the movies told me anyways. About 2 weeks go by and me and one of my roommates, I had 4, were hanging out in the lounge area showing off pictures from Instagram of our friends, family, etc. Well, my roommate, I'll call her Tracy, showed me a picture of her and these 2 guys. One of the guys was her boyfriend, and the other was Tracy's boyfriend's best friend. I'll call him Sean. Now, Sean was very attractive and I told Tracy that he was hot. And she told me that he went to the tech college near us and he was single. Now, a day or 2 goes by after this and she tells me that she told Sean that I was interested in him, and he wanted to know if he could follow me on Instagram so we could DM. At the time, I trusted Tracy because she seemed like a cool and chill girl, so I excitedly told her yes. I wish I never told her yes. I talked to Sean for about a week before I was comfortable enough to give him my phone number. At first, he seemed super sweet. He would always send me a text message in the mornings, telling me to have a good day at class and that he couldn't wait to FaceTime me that night. And we would FaceTime every night. At first, I loved it because I never had a boy give me so much attention. And like I said before, I had never dated anyone, so I was over the moon that he was even interested enough in me to talk to me. But it started to get annoying. He would text me almost every second of the day and try to FaceTime me at least 4 times. When I wouldn't respond to him, he would ask if I was okay. Why wasn't I answering him? If I was seeing another guy. If I was seeing another guy, it would make him really mad if I was. I, of course, once seeing the messages, would try to reassure him that I was okay, and that I wasn't seeing anyone. Like I said in the beginning, I was young and naive, so I didn't see it as a red flag. And things kept going downhill from there. It came to a point where he started asking for pictures of me, either just selfies or pictures of me in the mirror. I wouldn't send them though because I wasn't comfortable. And he would brush it off saying that was fine and I could send him pictures of myself to him whenever I was ready. One day, I was in class for a long time because it was a lab, and it started at 7 p.m. and wouldn't end until 10 p.m. that night. For those of you who don't know, labs in college can last from 2 to 4 hours, and mine just happened to be 3 hours that night. Once class had ended, I headed up to my dorm and took out my phone. I clicked the button on the side, lighting up the screen. It had 380 unread text messages, 10 missed calls, and 3 voicemails from Sean. Before I could even react or even read all the messages, my phone started to ring. Instead of being Sean, it was my dad. He called me to make sure that I was alright, because he had gotten an alert from the phone company that I had gotten all of those messages. I was still on his phone plan at the time. I don't know why, but I lied to him and laughed it off, saying that I was just in a group chat with a bunch of girls from school. Once I got off the phone with my dad, I quickly went to look at the messages that I had gotten. Most of them were demanding why I wasn't answering him, and he would come and find me if I didn't answer him. The voicemails were crude and mostly of him saying how he was going to find me, and when he did, he was going to punish me for not answering him. After this, I just completely blocked him on everything I could think of, completely freaked out about the whole thing. About a week goes by and I start to slowly forget about the incident, trying not to think too much about it. At least that's what I was trying to do. That whole week, I felt like someone was watching me, but I brushed it off as me being paranoid. At the end of the week, my roommate Tracy, who I had been avoiding, comes up to me shouting at me saying how I broke Sean's heart, and he had called her crying saying that he didn't understand why I stopped talking to him. I couldn't even get a word out because of how fast she was talking. She finally called me really self-centered and walked away. I went to class right after that, not realizing I forgot to lock my dorm room. You see, I lived with 4 girls and each girl had their own room, which would lock from the outside with a key. Well, when I came back from class, I noticed my door was cracked open slightly. My heart dropped into my stomach. I hesitated going in. My hands were shaking terribly, but I finally got the nerve to push it open. Nothing. There was nothing out of place, it seemed. Even though there was nothing out of place, I could have sworn I closed the door before leaving for class. Though I don't remember if I had locked it or not, I know for sure I had closed the door. So I asked my roommates, including Tracy, if anyone had gone into my room today, and they all denied it, even Tracy. But I just knew, in my heart, someone had been in there. I tried to brush it off, but I couldn't. So one weekend when I knew that all my roommates were going to be out of town, I had switched dorm buildings and roomed with a girl I had gotten to be close friends with. After I moved in with her, I told her about all that had happened, and she said that she would walk with me to all my classes. Thankfully, we had most of our classes together anyway, except the night lab that I had. But she would still walk with me to my lab, and wait until my lab was done to walk with me back to the dorm. One night though, she had gone out of town to see her parents or something. I was walking back from my lab and it had gone really late that night again. I heard someone walking behind me, but I didn't pay any mind to it since class was just let out. But as I was walking, I could hear these steps getting closer. So I started to pick up my walking speed. At this point, I could tell someone was following me and I was too afraid to look back. As the footsteps increased and got faster, I started running as fast as I could. Now let me tell you, I'm not athletic by any means. Somehow though, adrenaline probably. I was able to sprint to my dorm building hearing someone still running behind me. And I thankfully already had my keycard out to get into the building. And I swiped it on the door and I slammed it behind me. Looking up from slamming the door, I see someone who's probably about 10 feet away from it staring at me. Even though the person's hoodie was up, I couldn't see their face, I could just tell that they were looking at me. But I knew it was Sean. Not wasting any more time, I go to the RA that was up that night, bawling, telling him what had just happened. He called the police and I told them everything that happened. But they basically said they couldn't do anything since I didn't even see his face, even if I thought it was Sean. And maybe I was just paranoid since it was nighttime and I was walking by myself. After all this, I called my friend and told her what had happened, and she never went out of town again if I had my late night classes. I eventually decided that college wasn't for me and I dropped out. I moved back to my home state and went to cosmetology school and became a hairdresser. I still haven't dated anyone yet though. Maybe it's the fear of something like that happening again. I'll never know. I do know that I'm super careful with who I talk to now, until I give my social media and phone number to. I'm still scared to go to places by myself, even though it's been years and I'm states away. Even so, I don't know. Be prepared to listen to things that are not my finest moments. When I was a freshman in high school, I was dealing with a lot of things and it ultimately caused poor life decisions. So, I started high school when I was young, barely 13 years old. I'm a female, now a junior. I didn't think anything about this guy since I wasn't focused on people. I didn't really care about anyone except my 2 friends that I had in the classes that I had with him. He was 17 at the time. And yes, in those classes, the grade levels were mixed. Nothing ever struck me as odd about him, since I rarely paid attention to him. Until one day in biology, I looked up from my paper and saw him taking pictures of me. I was creeped out, but didn't say anything in case I was wrong. And then days later, he found my Instagram and kept texting me, which I obviously would never respond to. And if I had to, I would be very dry and just leave him on read. And then one day in the middle of class, I got a text from a random number saying, "Hey," various emojis and heart ones too. And I immediately knew it was him, since earlier he was asking for my number, which I declined to give to him. I immediately went to the two friends in that class to yell at them for telling him, in which they replied, "We never gave it to him." They even showed me their phones and let me go through them and their messages with him, and no number of mine was ever mentioned, despite his numerous text messages asking them for it. I never answered him and desperately tried to avoid him, until one day on Instagram, I got a message from him saying, "You're so pretty," to which I replied that I wasn't pretty, and then he spammed me with pictures that he had taken of me. That wasn't even the creepiest part. There were like 50 plus pictures of me, ranging from classes around the school campus, and even outside of school, like near the bus stop or waiting for a friend and the quad to go somewhere. There was even some of me playing soccer with my friends on the football field. It's used for soccer too, since the soccer field gets flooded easily and constantly is getting fixed to look pretty. Obviously, I left him on red and blocked him and avoided him even more, to the point that I started skipping classes. And when I did go, I told the teacher what had happened, while I was shaking, and she would let me go to the dean of the school where I showed them everything, and even gave them the number that I got the message from. It's been 2 years and I'm a junior now. I stayed in the school since they have connections to a hospital that I want to volunteer in, and because I have great friends there. And he's made new accounts and everything. Instagram, Snapchat, and probably got a new number. And he's been trying to follow me and message me for weeks now. I keep blocking him, but new accounts are created. I'm honestly glad to quarantine, since I would probably be nervous to go to class or even school. It's also worth mentioning that it's still not known how he got my number, as the only two people who had it never gave it to him. And I'm 100% sure that he was following me around school, even after I had told the dean. So, I am now 16. I turned 16 a few days ago, and recently, I've been playing games on Roblox with my best friend, like Murder Mystery 2, Arsenal, etc. And one of the games I play on my own is Adopt Me, because I like all the pets they have. I am writing this minutes after it had happened. I was playing Adopt Me after my classes, since we have short periods for school on Mondays, so it was like 11:52ish, and now it's 12:07. There was this player who had a variation of my stalker's name with random numbers after it, and I stupidly thought nothing of it. Instead I thought, oh, it's a pretty common name, which it is. But I couldn't shake off this feeling, and then that person kept following me. And again, I was stupid and thought, they probably want to trade since I have an ultra rare pet. So I stopped driving, but that trade invitation never came. So me being me, I left and went to the campsite since my pet wanted to go there. Everything was fine until I was going back to my home in the game. Until that user put, "Hey, my name." And I didn't think anything was wrong until I did a double take and realized that my name isn't on my Roblox account. And on my Roblox account, I only have 3 friends. And all 3 of them either call me by my alias that I made for my books or future podcasts, or by my Roblox name whenever we play. I didn't respond to the message and instead just acted like I didn't see it, while the other players were asking the user, "Who's my name?" The player then kept on following me around until I left the game, and even then he sent me a friend request, which I denied and immediately blocked. That wasn't the only thing he had done since my last update on the story. We found out about this guy that I'm talking to somehow. The guy isn't from California, and he told one of his friends, I say friends with quotations because he has yelled at that friend for talking to me, or even being near me before. And that friend happens to be a very close friend of mine. And that friend told me what happened, and how he freaked out but couldn't do anything, due to the guy not being in California, and seeing that he was scary looking to my stalker. The guy is a huge softie, so it made me laugh knowing that. After I was told that he had somehow been stalking my followers and following, I blocked people that would know him, and possibly let him use their account to look at mine. I updated my brother, legal guardian, and my friends that knew about him, so they would know, and even told the guy in case my stalker had the idea to message him and tell him a complete lie. As previously, the stalker had messaged a close friend of mine and told him that we were dating, me and my stalker, in an attempt to get my friend to stop talking to me. He even told that same friend that he was going to marry me and that we were going to have 2 kids, which is a huge lie, because 1, I don't want kids, and if I ever do, I'll adopt, and 2, if I get married, it'll most likely be to the guy that I'm talking to right now, or to a woman. Luckily, nobody believed him except his friends who were saying that it would happen one day, and he'd just keep trying to be with me. I overheard once and was disgusted and told 2 of my friends, D and B, about it, to which they got mad and refused to let him near me whenever he tried to talk to me. Even though now we're not in those classes, D and B are still in classes with my stalker. We're still close, and they tell me whenever they overhear my stalker's friends giving him ideas. In my last update, I left out a piece of information due to me not having the full story, until my friend B told me the rest that I needed after it was posted, and I didn't want to assume anything or give possibly false information. Rewinding to freshman year, on Valentine's Day, I found a huge stuffed bear in my math class and it was on my seat, so I thought somebody had left it there. And when the teacher came into the class, I told him that someone left a huge stuffed bear behind, to which my teacher responded, "That wasn't there in my previous class. Somebody probably left it there for you. Maybe a secret admirer." Me and my math teacher have a father and daughter bond, so we play around like that. We ended up looking into the packaging because our curiosity got the best in us, and it had a letter. I still vibrantly remember it because it creeped me out so much. It read, "Dear my name, it's Valentine's Day and I wanted to give you something for today. I like everything about you, your smile, your eyes, and your body. You're perfect. I love you." I stayed in for a bit during lunch and gave my math teacher the note, which got him creeped out too. We ended up throwing away the note, and I took the bear but met up with a friend, S, for the rest of lunch. She asked who gave me the stuffed bear and said that it was nice. I ended up telling her what had happened with the note and how I found it, and then I gave the stuffed bear to her so she could keep it. You all might ask, why did I give her the bear? Well, I have 3 reasons for that. 1, she has panic attacks and snuggling up to something when she has them helps her go through them, so I gave her a giant stuffed bear. 2, I don't like over-the-top things, and 3, I already had a lot of stuffed animals due to my brother getting me them since I was a baby. My friend S still has the bear, and it has helped her a lot, so I don't regret giving it away or even receiving it from my stalker, which was not known then, because it had helped someone out with a problem. Fast forward to when I found out the stuffed bear was from my stalker. My friend B had messaged me to tell me about my stalker finding out the guy that I'm talking to, and before we had ended our conversation, he asked if he could call me, which I said yes to. During the call, he told me about how he's in this group chat for this class on Instagram, and how they're all friends in that class, and that they were sharing things about their previous boyfriends or girlfriends for some reason, which my friend B and my other friend D were not a part of. Instead, they just looked at the messages. My stalker claimed that I dated him, and then said that I didn't want anyone to know but that we did date. We never did and never will. My stalker then continued on to say in the group chat that the giant stuffed bear that was on my seat in Algebra 1 was from him, and then he got so mad at me for giving it to a friend, so he broke up with me. I wasn't even shocked that he made up a story of us dating, and when I told my best friend, G, we laughed for a bit, and then decided to contact a lawyer and see if the restraining order could be put, and if the police could be involved. Sadly, I got the news that since he had not been near me since I had switched classes, and I'm no longer in classes with him, that I cannot get a restraining order since online harassment and stalking isn't bad enough. Yet since they've only been friend requests and hello, my name, which meant that I couldn't even go to the police due to it being online and not dangerous. Sorry if this was a bit too long. I would have shortened it, but it would mean more parts and I didn't want to annoy anyone trying to find the parts. Also, if anyone is going through this or something similar, tell someone, because at first I didn't say anything because I thought it wasn't going to get bad. But it did, and it is still getting worse.